What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're up here in Kings Lynn, Norfolk, home of Anglia Car Auctions, for their June classic car sale. Now there's over 280 lots going under the hammer throughout this weekend, so let's have an explore about and see what we can find. Seeing as the sun's shining here in Kings Lynn, I think it's only fair to start off with this 1986 VW Golf Cabrio GTI. The description states that the Golf was taken off the road back in 2012 and the vendor purchased this in 2019. It wasn't then issued a MOT certificate until 2020. Now it has had a full respray during that time. I must say the paintwork on the Golf is absolutely lovely. It's also benefited from a reconditioned gearbox, new tyres, a cam belt, new brakes and a service, although the vendor does advise that the car benefits from warming up before driving, but it's fine after. Here we have the 1.8 litre engine fitted to the Golf GTI. Now as we have a scan around the engine bay, you can see it hasn't been cleaned up for the auction. It's in a fairly reasonable state. Now the Golf has got 72,000 miles recorded and it has got MOT until May next year. I think that's a nice little car to start this auction video off, and the estimate this weekend is £5,000 to £7,000. Now the next car we're going to be looking around is this 2001 Ford Mondeo ST24, which is packing a V6 under the bonnet. There's no better place than to start under the bonnet with this Duratec 2.5 litre V6 engine, 24 valve, hence the ST24. As you can see, it looks in a reasonable condition. Now this was daily driven up until recently. The vendor has owned this since 2015 and it did drive 100 miles to the sale. Let's have a look in the Mondeo and see what the interior is like. Well, the first thing that strikes us is that driver's seat bolster. There's quite a lot of wear on that, but the rest of the interior looks in great condition. Now I have already done an MOT check on this and it's got a credible 43,000 miles, which makes it a fairly low mileage car. I've been having a little look around the Mondeo and the bodywork looks in reasonably good condition for its age. Now one of the rear arches is starting to bubble at the slightest, but doesn't look too bad at all. It did fail its MOT a couple of years ago on some rust on the floors, but that must have been fixed because it's got valid MOT until February next year. And the most exciting thing about the Mondeo ST24 is that it's a no reserve, so no telling what that's going to go for. Let's find out.
42, 43, 43 up and down, only get a 43, 44, 46, 47. They're all done in the room and goes well at 5 down, 6, sold 5, 6.
Next up we're looking around this 1988 BMW E30 325i convertible, perfect for a day like today. The Cabriolet has had 3 previous keepers and is showing 193,000 miles. It's certainly lived a life. Well, I tell you what, the interior doesn't look like it's done that many miles. It's in great condition. You got a slight bit of crack into the leather seats, but I wouldn't say it's terrible at all. It does have a couple of parts missing, including the plastic surround for the seat belt. It's also missing the radio, and both sides, the kick panels are missing. But apart from that, I'd say that's a really tidy and well kept interior. As we take a look in the engine bay, here is that straight 6 2.5 injection engine. Now, I've just been reading up and the service book on this car has 32 stamps between 1988 and 2007. And something else I just spotted is I think this is fitted with a set of BC racing coilovers. Now the MOT on the BMW did run out in June 2022, so it's currently off the road. Now this weekend at Anglia Car Auctions, it's offered as a no reserve. I really do think this is a great car that someone can get back on the road and enjoy this summer.
Then we go to the lot number 40244546. Not surprises, we've got a Christmas tree up here. 48495,000. At 5,500 from third and last time. That's yours outright. You won't be disappointed again.
How about this then? Our first commercial of the sale in this 1991 Ford Transit bonus. Bit of a strange one with this one. Just had a look on the MOT history. It's got one in 2006, one in 2007, and then it jumps to 2023. So I think this has been off the road for quite some time. As we take a look around the interior on the Transit, it doesn't look in bad condition at all. I wouldn't say it's a complete minter, but it looks in a reasonable condition. Now, the mileage is 47,000 miles, and I think this is genuine because when it came off the road back in 2007, the mileage was 45,000. Let's have a look in the back. As you can see, it has had some fresh ply lining on the side panels, which looks to be done fairly well. Now I have had a look at these rear arches. It's definitely had a pair, and there is quite a lot of filler in them. I've had a good poke around them, but taking a look at it, it looks in presentable condition. It's not your average sort of rusty old Transit that's not going to pass its next MOT. One thing I'm loving that the Transit has is these Byron Brothers Trucks Limited original dealer plates, which it still features. Now in the bay we have a 2-litre petrol Pinto, and it seems to be in reasonable condition. You can tell someone's just gone over this with a spray can though. As you can see down here, even the Jubilee clip has been sprayed black. They've just sort of dashed a load of paint over there, and the same on these inner wing sections and that as well. Now the Transit is on the road. It's got MOT until April 2024. It's here this weekend at Anglia Car Auctions, and the estimate is £6,000 to £8,000.
373839 at 3,900. Twice provisionally at 4,500. Provisionally with you.
Next up, we've got a 1973 Fiat 126. I've looked around a couple of these before, and I'm just always so surprised at how small these little things are. This rare, very early UK Fiat 126 was purchased by the vendor 2 years ago, following several years of being museum displayed. The Fiat has been subject to a new front panel, as well as the new early type wings, which have all been resprayed. Let's have a look in the boot at the engine. A tiny little thing. This is a 594cc engine. It's a 2-cylinder, and from what I can make out, this is also air cooled. I think this is really quirky. Just sitting in the boot of the Fiat. Diddy little thing. How cool is that? I really do think this is a true, honest example. It's not a minter by any means, but you can jump in this and drive it. Now it's offered at Anglia Car Auctions this weekend as a no reserve.
Lot number 282, Fiat 126 for you, this one 1974. At £3,600, any further interest in it? At £3,600, I take 37, £3,600 going out the door, sold 36.
Jumping from one no reserve car to another in this 1992 Ford Fiesta 1.1 LX. I like to be transparent with you guys with these auction videos. When I first read this had 24,000 miles on the clock, I thought that's got to be 124, but it's not. As far as I can make out on the MOT history, it looks like that's a genuine 24,000 miles, and there doesn't seem to be any sign of advisories for rust or failures. I've looked around this bodywork and I cannot see any rust on it, although there is quite a lot of green moss sort of behind these door handles, on the bits of trim still. I just think this has had a blowover with the jet wash. It hasn't really had a detail. Now as we make our way inside, it looks to be in good condition. Slight bagginess from the seat fabric, but that always happens. Now the original steel wheels are in the back with their hubcaps. The vendor has stated that the Fiesta is running and driving with the brakes working perfectly, although does advise that the tyres are cracking because it has been flagged up on the advisories for the MOT. I've just popped the bonnet on the Mark III Fiesta. As you can see, the 1.1 engine in there. But what I love about this is it's just been left. It hasn't been cleaned up, hasn't been tarted up at all. So you can just take this for what it is. And I really like this. I think that this would clean up lovely, but as you can see, it's still got the factory sealer on both of the front wings, so they haven't been changed. I don't think this has probably had any welding. I'm gonna put it out there. I believe this probably hasn't had any welding. Obviously, I don't know that for sure. Haven't had a look underneath it, but it seems a real genuine car to me. The Fiesta is not far off from having a 12-month MOT. It's due May 2025. But I really do think this is a true underdog. It's here, it's got 24,000 miles on the clock, and it's a no reserve. If this goes under a grand, I'm gonna find it very hard to keep my hands in my pockets.
14, 1500, 1600 on my left. That's 16, 1700. That's let me know. 24 over the back and gold, then you'll run once twice. Third and last. That's yours on the back. Chicken over about 2400.
Now, I have been drawn into this 2003 Ford Focus ST170. Now I know, I can hear you all saying this isn't a classic car, but this is going to be a collectible, I'm telling you now. The amount of these that are getting scrapped because of rust issues and people nicking the engines out of them is unbelievable. And this one is a true gem of a car. Now this ST170 comes with the comfort pack and detailed service history. It's only showing 42,000 miles. What? Say that again? 42,000 miles? That's just ridiculous. Look at it. It doesn't even look like the back seats have been sat in. I know, I'm talking a bit like a salesman now, but I really like this. I'm sort of trying to sell it to myself, I think. Now the Focus ST170 has recently had a lot of work carried out, totaling £4,000. Some of the work includes a cam belt kit, full service, a cam cover gasket. It's also had a new water pump, auxiliary drive belt, air conditioning compressor, rear lower arms and springs. The list does go on quite a bit. As you can tell, just from looking around it, it's nice and clean. Both the rear arches are rust free. And just before we pop the bonnet and have a look at the engine, I will show you this slight bit of rust on the near side front wing. Now this is the only bit of rust I can see from the outside, but yeah, a new wing or a little repair will put that straight. We've now got the bonnet popped up. Kind chap just done it for us. Obviously you need the key, but you just got to ask here at Anglia Car Auctions and they're really helpful. Anyway, here is that ST170 engine. As you can see, there is quite a lot of plastic here that you wouldn't see with the classic cars, but yeah, I'm really liking this. I remember me and my dad broke one of these once actually, and it rusted quite badly on sort of the inner wing, but it'd be very hard to sort of see that from here. I mean, if you got your hand right down there, you might be able to have a feel around, but yeah, this looks like a great example. Anyway, the estimate at Anglia Car Auctions is £4,000 to £6,000.
36, that 37, back over there, 37, once, twice, final, 37,
I have stumbled across this 1972 VW Beetle. Now, the reason I'm looking around this is I'm just curious what it's worth. It's offered as a no reserve, so let me show you guys around it. Now the Beetle has been off the road for quite some years, although it is noted that it does still start, drive and stop, but it needs some recommissioning. As you can see from this roof going onto the quarter panel, this section is just rotten, completely rotten. As we follow the arch down here, it needs some welding along there. Front arch down here looks really bad as well. It's just going to need quite a lot of TLC. It's the same story on this side, big hole that needs addressing. Now, as we look in the boot, the engine is a 1200cc. It's air cooled and it has had a new carburettor. As I said, it does still run. The Beetle's showing 52,000 miles and it's had 5 registered keepers, but this really is my absolute nightmare. And I think the definition of a can of worms, just take a look at the floor down here. plenty of daylight to be seen and a lot of welding for someone. Definitely have their work cut out, quite literally. Anyway, the Beetle is going under the hammer here at Anglia Car Auctions this weekend, and as I say, it's offered as no reserve. So without further ado, let's find out what that's going to sell for.
400, 450, 500, 550, 600 back in the room. 600 pounds, 650, 650 under here, 700 now. Twice, you're sure you're not done. 900, you're buying it. 900, yours, sir. You're done, please.
Okay, let's look around this 2001 Ford Escort 55D van. As you guys know, if you watched some of my previous videos, I've got a massive soft spot for these, and whenever there's a red one, everyone says, is that an ex-Royal Mail? Now I don't know, but it could possibly be. Let's take a look inside the Escort van. Now the vendor states that it drives and runs well, although it has been off the road for the past 4 years. Have a little glance around here. Looks in great condition, to be honest. The seats look nice and the back looks in presentable condition. No signs of rust on the rear arches or anything like that, but I would say it's got quite a few nasty dings. One here on the back panel and along here. Also, the door looks like it's reversed into a post at some point because, yeah, it's got a nasty ding to the lower section of the door. Now the Escort van has certainly needed a bit of welding to get it back on the road. I can see some patches of some fresh undersill and some welds inside of the arches, but let's have a little pet peeve moment. These sills are so common to go on the Escort vans. Now what someone's done is caked it with undersill. It might have been colour-coded undersill, or they've just put some red over the top, but it's so thick you can't even tell if that's solid underneath. It could have been welded or bodged up, and then they've just sprayed all of that undersill over the top. You can see how thick it really is, and they've sort of taken it even further past the sill up here. And consequently, now when you open the door, you're just hit with this massive layer of undersill, which isn't the nicest. Here we have the 1.8 Endura DE engine, very slow but very reliable. As we have a little look around the engine bay, it seems to have had no recent work, which is great to see. No fresh paint or anything, so it's nice to see it in its genuine state. Anyway, the Escort van for sale here at Anglia Car Auctions this weekend with an estimate of £2,500 to £3,500. Squeaky squeak.
At 19, all I can do is ask. At 19, I'll take 2,000 for it anyway. The final time, you're all quite sure of 19. That's a little bit.
Now we're going to look around this 1966 Ford Cortina Mark I, and it is a Lotus Cortina. Can't get much rarer and special than this, but this one has been off the road for 20 plus years. It always surprises me when you come across these barn find or garage find vehicles. Some of the interiors are in incredible condition. Look at that. The door cards, the seats, even the dash, there's no dust on it. It looks in really, really good condition. Having a look around the exterior, you've got some perished rubbers and a little bit of crack into the paintwork, but really nothing too bad considering it hasn't been on the road for that long. As you can see, a little bit of bubbling around there, but I'd say this one has definitely survived really well. And here we have the twin cam Lotus engine, which isn't currently running. It's recorded about 26,000 miles. I'm not sure whether that is 126 or not, but as we have a look around the engine bay, it doesn't seem to be any signs of visible rust or big holes. It actually looks in good condition. We've got this strut brace over the top, so it's hard to sort of gauge whether under the strut tops is completely solid, but I would say that has definitely survived well. The Lotus Cortina also comes with a period steering wheel, both of its bumpers and some badges which have been placed in the boot. Now it's here for sale at Anglia Car Auctions with an estimate of £20,000 to £24,000.
15,200 back in the room 4, 15,400, at 15,400, that's 16,200 only. That's provision with us.
How about this for a hot hatch that you don't see on the UK roads anymore? Here we have a rare early Mark I Citroen Saxo VTS. This is a 1998 car.
This Saxo VTS is finished in the unusual colour of magenta, and it's also had just 3 previous keepers, the current one being since 2013. The vendor has stated that it drives exceptionally well and is in lovely condition both inside and out. As you can see, it is looking in real good original condition. Loving them really striking seats and matching door cards. Quite like the interior on this, to be fair. It's also a sunroof model, which doesn't seem to have any rust or rot around it, just a little bit of polish. The Saxo has had a bit of work done this year. It's had a full cam belt and water pump along with a full service, so yeah, you know that is ready to go. I really do like this little Saxo. It's on the road, it's got MOT until May 2025, so nearly a 12-month ticket, and no surprising that it's got a pretty strong estimate on it at £5,000 to £7,000.
1398, thank you. Now we go on lot 350 there, isn't it? 4,000 bid. 4-1 with you, sir. And 4-1 up in there now, then at 4-1. 4-1 it is now going twice. It's still provisional, but 4,100. Provisionally with you, 440.
There really is a true collection going under the hammer this weekend at Anglia Car Auctions. So you've got a lot of old post office telephones vans. Now firstly we've got this 1960 Morris Minor van, and then as we go along we've got this 1961 Morris JB van with the sliding doors. We've also got this 1947 Morris Commercial LC3, but the one I'm going to be focusing on is this 1966 Ford Anglia van, right up my street. This Anglia van was once property of Ken Bennett, a founder member of the Morris Commercial Club. It was restored and resprayed back to its original green livery from red, and it's only believed to be just 9 Anglia GPO vans left. As you can see, it's still got the original wooden ladders on the roof, and if we have a look in the back, it comes with plenty of spare parts, including lots of doors. I think there's 2 sets of doors and another single door. The V5C suggests that this engine has been upgraded to a 1500, but as I say, it's currently not running. Another thing I have just spotted, which I think is really cool, the first original tax disc. It's got the registration of the Anglia, yeah, June 67, wow. It's great to see this Anglia van this weekend, and it'd be even better to see it back on a road. Now the estimate for this is £6,000 to £8,000.
4244, 46 in the room, 48, 48 on the net, 4800, 48 5 bid. That's £7,800, 78 8 the bid. £8,000 back on the net, 82. That 9,400. Yours on the phone, and thank you for being on that one, 9,400 bid.
We've got a real treat next in this 1985 Ford Capri 2.8 injection, which is looking in really remarkably clean condition. Let's have a look inside. Now the Capri was off the road between 2018 and 2024. It's had a light recommission and it's now back on the road, although it does need a few bits still. As you can see, front kick panels are missing, the carpet is looking a bit dodgy. I think someone's had that up to look at the floors. Now the Capri is back on the road. It's got MOT until April 2025. Here we've got the 2.8 litre V6 engine. Having a brief read up, it has actually had quite a lot done to this Capri, and the estimate this weekend at Anglia Car Auctions is £10,000 to £12,000.
Special, first registered 1985, that's £7,800, 79, 8,000, that 8,000 man, I've been out there, 8,081, provisional at 8,100, that's provisional with you, internet.
I've just came into one of the halls here at Anglia Car Auctions and stumbled across this 1986 Ford Capri 2 litre laser, which has only had 2 owners from new, and the last one being since 1995.
The Capri is finished in Rosso red with grey interior. It's in great condition inside and out, and offered with a genuine 53,000 miles on the clocks. So yeah, this really hasn't covered many miles at all. It's also noted that it still features its dealer rear window sticker along with matching front and rear dealer number plates. As we take a look inside the Capri, I won't nitpick at it too much, but there is a slight crack to the dash, but very, very minimal. All the door cards are nice and no peeling, and also the seats are in great condition with no wear to the bolsters. And no surprising that the condition continues throughout the engine bay, nice and original, not been tarted up. Look at them strut tops, nice and solid. I really do think this is a good, genuine example of a 2-litre laser Capri. Anyway, the estimate on the Capri is £14,000 to £16,000.
Full Capri, I've heard about what a nice Capri this is as well. 10, 5, 750, 11 bit on the phone, 250, 11, 5, 750. 12 now, 16, 250, 16, 750. Straight back again. You're all going to visit on the phone, all done. That's your fortune over like that. 1597.
Next up, I've came across this 1975 Citroën GSX. Now this is believed to be the only model left on the UK roads. And when I saw it here at Anglia Car Auctions, I thought, that looks familiar, I've seen that before. Now the reason I've seen this before is because this was up in WB & Sons Newcastle auction. This was about 7 months ago and I recorded it on the channel. As you can see, this is just such a quirky old thing. Look at that steering wheel. You just wouldn't get one design like that today. I remember when I was up at the previous auction, I was really surprised at them quirky seat belts. The actual seat belt goes through that and then it latches over. The GSX has a warranted 37,000 miles, which part of the service history and the documentation backs up that comes with the sale. And there's also bills totaling £4,000 for repairs on this car. Finished in sunflower yellow, the Citroën GSX is described to be running very well, and here is that 1 litre engine. You'll have to forgive me for my lack of knowledge. I am not really into Citroëns, but I can appreciate it, and the fact that it's the only one left on the roads in the UK is just, well, incredible really. Anyway, let's get into the juicy stuff, the numbers. What did this make at WB & Sons auction? Well, 7 months ago, this sold for £3,500. And now this weekend at Anglia Car Auctions, it's offered at £6,000 to £8,000. So yeah, someone's gonna make a tidy profit today, I think, on this.
4,800, it's not enough money to get it all done. It's got to be more than that if you're interested. Come and have a rest work.
Now the next car is quite special because we're looking around this 1986 Ford Sierra RS Cosworth. Now this was initially retained by Ford for its own use before being sold into private hands in July 1987. Now there is a bit of a story with this Sierra Cosworth. It was recently saved from a barn, it was dragged out and it's had lots of work carried out, including a new head gasket. It's had the head fully refurbished, loads of other parts, the list just goes on and on. But as you can see, it's not in completely mint condition. The door cards have started to peel away, not only at the front, but also at the rear. And as you can see, the bodywork has not been touched. It's got quite a scabby bonnet and some bubbling to this front wing. I haven't had a look around the rest of the car, but I don't think it's in terrible condition. It just hasn't been refurbished and restored back to its original mint condition. One part that has been completely restored is the diamond cut alloys. They are freshly done. Some of the other parts that were changed include a new fuel tank, a new radiator, front discs and pads. It's had quite a bit of work done on it recently. And as we look in the boot, someone that must be taken after me because they can't throw away the old parts, although they're probably the original struts, so I don't blame them. Anyway, it's looking quite scabby in the gutters of the boot, as you can see along there. And on this side, we do have a little hole that's growing, so that's going to need attention. The Sierra Cosworth is showing 63,000 miles. Whether that's warranted or not, I am unsure. But it is on the road and it's MOT'd until April next year, 2025. But I want to know your guys' opinions on this. What would you do to it? Would you leave it as it is and just enjoy it for the car it is, or would you make it into a mint example? I'm unsure, because I've overheard people talking and they said they would just use it and abuse it, because most of them are locked up in garages and it's only taken out on rare occasions now. But the estimate for this is £28,000 to £34,000. So let's find out what that goes for.
25,000, 25,500, 26,000, 26,500, 27,500, 28,500, 29,000, that's 29,500 unlimited, 29,500, 30.
38 grand. Will it reach 40?
38,500, 38,500, okay, 39 bid, 39 bid, 39,500, 40,000 again.
There we go, 40 grand.
41.
£45,000 now.
45,500, 46, that 46, only going to 46, that 46. Final time, I don't promise you, you're looking hard at 47,000. Sold at 47,000.
There we go. I think it's only right and quite fitting that we move on to this 1987 Mercedes 190e 2.3 Cosworth and have a little look around this next. The Mercedes has been owned by the vendor for the past 9 years and states that it's only ever been dry stored and brought out for the odd show in the summer. And as I've just lifted up the bonnet to reveal the 2.3 16-valve engine, recording 110,000 miles. The Mercedes is MOT'd and on the road until February 2025. I'm quite looking forward to when they start this one up because I think it'll sound really nice. It's in great condition as well. The bodywork and the wheels all look nice and fresh. With an estimate of £24,000 to £26,000. Let's find out what that makes.
That's 21.4, you want 21.6? Yes, 21.6, 21.6 of it, 21.6, 21.6, 21.8, 21.8, twice or double short, 22.4 is a provisional bid on the internet.
Next up we have a classic Ford that I was sharing on my social media platforms during the week. This is a 1978 Ford Escort 1600 Estate, which is said to be a Mexico tribute car. Originally fitted with a 1.3 Kent engine, it's now been changed to a 1.6, although this hasn't been changed on the V5, so that would need to be altered. Now, if this was a Mark II Mexico Tribute, you would think that it'd have a 2-litre Pinto in the bay, but that is what it is, and it's also got Mark I Mexico stripes on it. So yeah, it's almost like a Mark I Mexico Tribute on a Mark II estate, if that makes any sense. I have found a little clue in the back here, a picture of a Mark I Escort Mexico. So that is where the ideas must have stemmed from. Anyway, this has got 99,992,000 miles on the clocks. It's had 5 previous keepers, and yeah, all the original interior remains. Here is the engine bay to the Mark II Escort Estate with the 1600 engine in there. Now, having a look around this, it must have had some paint and possibly some welding, just like most of the other Escorts. The VIN has unfortunately disappeared from the strut top, but that happens when repairs are carried out. Anyway, this seems to be a reasonably decent get in and go classic for someone to enjoy over the summer months. The estimate on this is £8,000 to £12,000.
That's 7274, in the room is 74. Any further interest in that before we go? That's 7,800. Provisional bid on the internet.
Now this is clean. I'm looking around this 1982 Ford Cortina. Now this is the last special edition, which is the Crusader Cortina. Now this run-out model was available in a 1.3, 1.6 and 2-litre saloon, and also a 1.6 and a 2-litre estate. It arrived just a few months before the Sierra was launched and was the best spec'd Cortina produced, with over 30,000 sold. And this example is a 2-litre. This Cortina has covered just 77,000 miles and is the 2-litre variant. As we have a look inside the interior, it just looks so welcoming. Look how big and cosy them front seats look. I really do like this. One little bonus I always love to see is the first tax disc. Yeah, that's really cool. £85 back in 1983. As I mentioned, this is the 2-litre Pinto engine. It also features a unleaded head and a 5-speed gearbox. I'll tell you what, It's only sort of me guessing, but this really looks like it's been cherished and looked after. All the paint looks original and just looks in really, really great condition. This would certainly be the classic Ford I'd be purchasing at this auction. It's in immaculate condition and the estimate is £8,000 to £10,000, which I think is fairly reasonable. Anyway, let's find out what that makes.
6, 7, you're on 8, 6, 8 to me, 6, 8 back in the room at 68. That's £7,000, still provisional once, twice you're out. It's going to be reading for 100. That's provisional return number.
Next up, we've got this really quirky 2001 Piaggio? I don't know. Anyway, that's a challenge for you guys to type that out, how you're meant to pronounce it, in the description below. Anyway, it's a Piaggio Ape and van, and it's had just one owner from new. Registered new in the UK back in November of 2001. The 95cc is in immaculate and genuine condition. Look at that. It's so basic. So basic. The mileage is showing 463 miles. I'm not sure whether that is warranted or not. I'll have to have a check on the MOT history in a minute. Look at that, that is so cool. Surprisingly, a half decent load space in the back. This is such a small and quirky vehicle. Now I have had a look on the past MOT history and it only comes onto the system back in 2021. So either this has been stored up for ages and not used, I'm not sure. Anyway, the estimate on this is surprisingly high at £4,000 to £6,000.
£5,100 you'll miss it. 5-1 is twice yours, and it is another 5-1 and right. There it is, 5-1, thank you.
Next up, we're looking around this true beauty in this 1964 Aston Martin DB5. Now, according to the heritage certificate that accompanies the Aston Martin, it was built on the 4th of June 1964 and dispatched a few days later. Check out the interior in this. Is showing just 4,800 miles, which I'm not sure is warranted or not, but it could well be. Now, this is the thing I love about the auctions. You really do see a bit of everything, and well, this is probably once in a lifetime opportunity for me to look around one of these and show you guys as well. The DB5 also does not require MOT or taxing anymore, as it is exempt, but it is MOT'd through to August of this year. What an absolute beauty, and you're all going to be shocked when I tell you the estimate on this one. It comes with heritage certificates, instruction book, receipt bills. It also has MOTs back to 2004 and official Aston Martin workshop manual. As you can see, it is being protected here at the auction, and that is because the estimate on this is £450,000 to £550,000. I'm pretty sure they're going to drive this through still though, so that would be great to see. What an opportunity to look around that today. Off we go, 300k. Let's see what this makes. Right, I know we've already covered quite a few Capris in this video, but it's only right we include this one as well, in this 1980 Ford Capri 3 litre S, showing a warranted and genuine 42,000 miles. The Capri is finished in cobalt blue with Recaro seats trimmed in grey and black Carla fabric with Savannah fabric surrounds and fishnet headrests, which we all absolutely love. The Capri is described to be in very good condition, and the 42,000 miles is warranted by the massive history file on this thing. Now, it is MOT and tax exempt, but it's been freshly MOT'd for June 2025, which is always good to see. Lovely bit of peace of mind. You know someone's been over it and checked it for roadworthiness. I've just opened the bonnet to the Capri. I'm going to put my head on the line and say this is probably the best condition one I've looked at for quite some time. As you can see, it's body colour under here, but it's got that satin factory finish. We've also got the 3-litre V6 engine, which is said to be running and driving very well. Now, something that comes with this sale, which doesn't usually come with the cars, it's quite rare, it comes with the original bill of sale for £6,331.68. It's clear to see by the sheer condition that this has been lovingly looked after and cared for. I don't think you're going to come across a cleaner Capri than this. Just look at that sunroof. Absolutely no blemishes in the roof line. I absolutely love it. Now, as for the estimate on this thing, it is at £22,000 to £26,000. I think that's worth every penny of that. It is really such a great example.
20,005, 21,000, then 21,005, then 26,500. Here first, 27,000, 27,500, then 29,000. Don't lose it for a good meal out. Then 29,000.
Good meal out, 250 quid.
29,000 I've been on the telephone. £30,000 I've been. Gabbles up, you're sure you've got it done internet. At £31,500 it is for the last time. That's yours, £31,500.
Now I've stumbled across this 1986 BMW. Now, I get quite a lot of stick for not including a lot of BMW, so here one is. This is an M5, it's a 3.5i, and let me show you guys the interior because it's quite striking. The E28 5 Series is showing 179,000 miles, and just check out this interior. I absolutely love it. I reckon back in the day when this was brand new, bright red leather, that must have been proper cool. Now it's no denying it has faded a little bit slightly over the years, but I'm sure a bit of polish and them seats will be gleaming again. The last owner of this BMW has had it for quite some time, since 1996, and between 2021 and 2023 had quite a lot of money spent on it, including a full body respray. The description also reads that it's finished in rare factory combination of Zinneber red and cardinal red leather interior, along with Alpina wheels. Now, I couldn't finish looking around this without having a peep under the bonnet. Here is the 3.5 injection engine. It's a straight 6. Now, under here it is full of, well, what I'd only describe as body shop dust, so I would need just a little tidying up. Nice clean, and that'll be looking nice again. Anyway, as for the estimate on the M5, it is £15,000 to £18,000.
11,750 up in second, 5 time, provisional bid, 11,750.
I have stumbled across another Mark 6 Escort van, this one being a 2001 Ford Escort van 55D. Now, you're all going to be so shocked at the estimate for this one, but let me show you around it first. You'll have to bear with the low lighting in here, but the Escort van was previously off the road and has had a lot of work done to it, both inside the cab and outside. I'm not too sure the extent of the works, but it does say it's had quite a bit done. Now, I can only assume that some of that work includes a full respray, because this looks in great condition, but you can see where they've lost the paint. They haven't done the shuts, they've just stopped it here. The GoPro probably won't pick it up, but yeah, that line is quite crude. They've blended it in nicer up here. Nicer, that's not really a word, is it? Better up here. As always, I'm hunting around the bay with a fine-tooth comb, and if we just look down here, it's a little bit rusty on the old battery tray, but it is all still here, running and working. The 1.8 diesel engine, this has got 78,000 miles on the clock, and it's also had 5 registered keepers. Now, it is worth noting that it's MOT'd until May 2025, so a very long ticket on it. And that comes with no advisories at all. Now, I won't go crawling underneath it to find any rust, but as you can see, there's a couple of blisters just starting on the roof and also on the gutters there. Very common for them to go around the window as well on the Escort vans. Now, it might seem like I'm nitpicking this Escort van a little bit, but there's a reason for that. The estimate is very, very strong at £5,000 to £6,000. I think it's a great, cracking example, but it doesn't come without its slight defects. Anyway, we'll find out what it makes when it goes under the hammer.
2.4, 2.5, at 2.5, 2.6, at 2.6, it's with me now, then at 2.6. At 3.4 on it now, then at 3.4, 3.5, fresh money, 3.6 now. At 3.6, 3.7, Last time, Gavel's up at £4,000 last time. £4,000.
Moving on, I've now found this 1991 Vauxhall Nova SR, and I haven't actually seen one of these at auction for quite a long time, so let's have a look around and see what it's like. Now this is the fuel injected version rather than the carburettor. Now this Vauxhall Nova spent quite a lot of time off the road between 2007 and 2020, which seems like quite a long time, 13 years in fact. Anyway, looking around the interior, it looks great. I'm loving the pattern on them seats and the door cards. It just screams 80s vibes. It's also got the arm support on the door card in blue. I just think, yeah, that looks so cool. When would you get designs like that these days? You just wouldn't. The vendor states that the Nova is running well and it's nice and reliable with 91,000 miles on the clock, and it's got valid MOT until April 2025. I tell you what, these Vauxhall engines do always look very, very small. There it is, as I mentioned earlier, it is fuel injected. It's got a little alloy pipe on the inlet with a massive air filter. Yeah, I think it's had new wings, new bolted on wings, because some of the washers are different colours, as you can see. Some are white, some are silver, but yeah, it looks all right. I would say one thing though, this bonnet is blistering quite badly. The GoPro probably won't pick it up too much, but yeah, it might need a little bit more paintwork. Anyway, it's great to see a Nova at the auction. You can drive this one home today. It's estimated £5,000 to £7,000.
Showing there. Here's the little 1991 there, Vauxhall Nova. 6.2 it is going twice. It's on sale and selling out the door last time at 6,200 it is. 6.2, that's yours.
Next up, we've got another Cosworth to look around in this 1993 Ford Sierra Sapphire Cosworth, which has been stood since 2015. This late Sierra Sapphire Cosworth is believed to be one of the last 200 built, and it features this rainbow cloth interior, which I'm a huge fan of. It's showing 30,000 miles on the clocks, but it's believed to be 130,000. But you wouldn't think it in here. It really does look in lovely condition. The Cosworth does have some upgrades, which include a RS500 intercooler, green injectors, 3-bar map sensor, Scorpion stainless steel exhaust, K&N filter, and some Samco hoses. I tell you what, I am a real big fan of the rainbow cloth. I do like that, and it's also on the door cards as well. Obviously, being an 80s car, it's got ashtrays in the back. As we make our way to the rear of the Sierra Sapphire Cosworth, the rear spoiler has a colour-coded tip, which apparently was added to the last 200 cars. As you can see, all of the alloy wheels look like they've been freshly refurbed. I really do like this. It's got MOT until October of this year, so you can drive it home, and that is going to sound lovely once it starts up. With an estimate of £15,000 to £18,000, let's find out what that goes for.
£250, would you like, sir? Then 19,500, it's in the room at 19,500, 19,600, 19,700, at 19,007. Twice. Last time selling outright at £20,900. It's yours, sir. Yours it is, 20,900. Thank you, your number.
Wow, what a auction that was, up at Anglia Car Auctions, a brilliant weekend. Now I want to talk about all the lots and have a little discussion with you guys, but I'm aware this video is already very long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate video that I'm going to release next Sunday, and we're going to talk all the ins and outs of the lots. I've even got some bonus auction footage that I didn't manage to put in this video, and we're going to cover some common misconceptions about the auction videos and the fees and stuff like that. So we're going to have a right good chat. But this is the end of this video. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like, and if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel to see more. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, I'll see you guys later.